Welcome back to Amplify Your Legacy. Parents, are you tired of mealtime battles? Struggling to get the kids to try new, nutritious foods? Well, today we're going to discover the secret to stress-free family dinners with my guest, Jax Perrins. I'm thrilled to have her on the show. Jax is a Chicago native now living in Atlanta. She is a wellness consultant, a mom, and an advocate for family health. She helps families with healthy kitchen pantry makeovers, meal planning, and smarter grocery shopping. And she's the award winning author behind Taste Buddies, Culinary Colors Green, a children's book that's making veggies fun even for the pickiest eaters. So, Jax, I want to welcome you to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's jump right in. Tell me about you. I know you grew up in Chicago. How did you get into the health and wellness industry?
Oh boy. Well, I feel like I grew up a normal 90s kid doing 90s kid things like eating junk food at the park, Funyuns, Fun Dip, Nerds candy. And it wasn't really until college I started working at kind of like a boutique fitness club in their membership sales office. And I taught youth ballet. And then from there, I worked for a company called Vital Proteins. They're a collagen supplement company. And then I worked for an ergonomic office and healthcare solutions company. So a lot of my kind of corporate career kind of directed me in this like health and wellness area and arena.
Hmm.
But it wasn't until having kids that I really started to pay attention to the food aspect. I don't think I ever ate like super unhealthy necessarily. I understood that like eating fruits and vegetables and real food was important, but I didn't
Sure.
necessarily focus on that. You're in your 20s and you go out to eat and drink at the bars and all things like that. But once I had my kids and I started to feed them like solids, I was like, I need to give my kids real food. Like I want them to thrive. And some of the
Hmm.
things that are marketed to kids are not actually all that healthy. so
Yeah, not good for them.
yeah, I really started
Exactly.
paying attention. My oldest kids, I have twins that are 5.5.
Oh,
So really when they
wonderful.
yeah, I have 5-year-old twins, almost 3-year-old little boy, and an almost 1-year-old little girl. So 4 kids in 4.5, 5 years ish.
Oh, adorable ages.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but
Oh, definitely.
and they eat a lot too. So yeah, I mean they keep me busy. But yeah, I think I've always kind of had that pull to that health and wellness lifestyle, working at a gym and selling health essentially. So I think
Hmm.
that's kind of where it stemmed for me.
Awesome. Okay, so your book, Taste Buddies, that's a fun and creative idea. It really, really is. And it's a beautiful book. Tell us about the inspiration behind the book, especially Culinary Colors Green. What sparked that for you?
So taste buddies, obviously, if it's not clear, well, here I'll show my book here. So taste buddies are like the taste buds on your tongue, and I kind of went with green. My little guy Declan, his favorite color is green. The character
Oh.
Charlie, the girl, she looks just like my daughter Isla. And then my little guy Charlie is Charlie a boy. And my dedication page is basically my birth announcement for baby number 4. So I've got all 4 kids wrapped in one book.
Love
If
it.
I never write another one again, they all got their little shout out in here. But as I mentioned, like as I started feeding them solids, it was really important to me to feed them real food. And it became exciting for me to show them new things that maybe I haven't even tried. When they were little, I was like, what can they try next? They had dragon fruit, they had like sardines, like they still love mackerel and just all these things that like my other mom friends were kind of like, oh, like your kids eat that? Like that's weird. My kids only want to eat chicken nuggets and goldfish crackers and
And burgers.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cheerios out of their car seat. I'm like, you know, your kids are going to eat whatever you put in front of them. And I just never went to those like highly processed foods. And so, my kids were my inspiration for this book, like
Love it.
wholeheartedly. They, they love eating real food. They're very adventurous eaters. And of course, they have things that are their favorite and they have things that are not their favorite. But they're always very inclined to try something new, and they make it fun. And I think, that makes it fun for me as a parent, and it takes the pressure off of me when I can say, this is what we're having for dinner tonight. Do you want to try this? What do your taste buddies think about this thing that's on the menu this week? So
That's so amazing. So very unique. I can totally picture parents using this book as a guide, a way to spark, conversation with their kids, even at the dinner table. So I have to ask, why did you start with the color green? And you said that that's your child's favorite color. Was it an easy color to really talk about in the book? Because it's a color that not many kids gravitate towards when it comes to foods.
yeah, I think something that we always did when they were really little is we would make smoothies a lot, and I feel like their favorite color is Declan's is green, Isla's is pink, and so they would be like, "How do you make a green smoothie?" I'm like, "Well, you're going to have to put green foods in it, and how do you make a pink smoothie? It's a little trickier. You got to use things that are slightly more exotic, like dragon fruit and acai and strawberries or something like that." But I think they like green foods, and it made it easy for me to say, here's cucumber, broccoli. They love putting spinach and things, and they always get involved in the kitchen with me, which I also think is really helpful for kids that want to try something new. Like, let them help you make a smoothie. Let them help you chop the veggies, peel the carrots, things like that. When they see what they're eating, they're going to be more inclined to try it. And I never wanted to feel like I had to hide the veggies in something. Of course, sometimes I add veggies to things that you can't tell that they're in there, but I never wanted to be like, oh, I need to give my kid vegetables, but I have to mix them into something so that they don't taste it, they don't see it. And so when they help, I think that just makes it more fun for them, and they have the hand in making whatever is their creation, and they want to try it. So
Wow. That's a great idea, especially you being the great example for them, you eating it, them seeing you eat it. That's just pretty much a secret weapon that a lot of people, a lot of parents use. Um, just being able to have that example for them, and they're going to follow the example. I have 3 boys, and they weren't picky eaters, and that was great for me. So I noticed that this is tips that parents of picky children should have. What are your special tips, your tricks to encourage kids to try more nutritious foods?
yeah, so I mean, you definitely touched on one of those, and that's basically modeling the habits that you want to see. Adopt the idea that there's no such thing as a kid's menu. If I'm making soup, we're all eating soup. If my husband's grilling something, we're all eating that. I'm not making a separate meal for every kid who doesn't like something. Of course, there's exceptions. Some meals are spicy. I'm not going to add chili powder and cayenne pepper to something for my 10-month-old. Like, that would be silly. But yeah, we all eat the same thing. Again, getting kids involved. Like, if you bring your kids to the grocery store, ask them to choose something that they want to try that week from the produce section. Same goes for letting them just help with an age appropriate task. I mentioned like letting them peel and chop carrots if they're old enough. They can add spices. Anything that they can do to help. I know the cleanup is usually a lot longer when you let your kids help, and it takes 4 times as long to, get the recipe done. But if they feel like they are helping, kids love to help. Kids absolutely love to be involved, and they're definitely going to be more inclined to try something. So I'll also ask my kids, for the upcoming week, what's something that you want to be on the menu for dinner or breakfast or lunch? Like, what do you want me to make? What do you want to pick up from the grocery store? And then just frequent and varied exposure. If they don't like something, I always still put a small amount of it on their plate. Maybe this is the time that they try it. Maybe this is the time that they like it. An example of that is my daughter Isla. She has wholeheartedly hated carrots. She doesn't like them crunchy. She doesn't like them cooked. She doesn't like them. She just doesn't like carrots. But I always put some recipes have carrots in them, like soups and things. I'm
Sure.
not going to omit them every time just for Isla. Sorry, girl. And I made something recently and she ate the carrots. I was like, you ate it? And she's like, yeah, it was good. I was like, your taste buddies changed. They like carrots now.
That's growth.
So, you know, persistence, patience, and the presentation of a meal can go a long way. Something else that I do is I have these little like cookie cutters, like they're just miniature versions. So sometimes they get bored of cucumbers cut the same way. So it takes a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, but I don't do it every time that they want something, you know, heart shaped, but makes it a little fun when you have time to just do different shapes, put it on a skewer, just changing the way that you give them something. You know, in the book, the avocado page there, you know, avocado can be on toast. They can eat it plain. You can make guacamole with it. So just because they don't like something prepared one way doesn't mean that they don't like it in general. You have to be open and, again, patient to offering it to them multiple times. And yeah, just, you got to keep on trying. Your taste buddies change.
They do. They do. I remember when I was younger, I didn't like okra. Just the consistency, the sliminess of it. But now I love it.
Yeah.
Different ways,
Even as an
different
adult,
type
your
of
taste
food.
buddies change.
That's so true. That's great advice. And it's making it fun and stress-free.
That is the most important thing, honestly. You got to make it fun. They don't want to feel forced to eat something. You know, obviously, again, that's the beauty of the book, Taste Buddies. You could kind of use the book as your guide and just open up that conversation of different flavor profiles and textures and encourage them in a silly, funny, low pressure way. Just fostering that conversation about why we want to eat healthy, real food. Like, it's going to give you superhero powers. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you feel better. Going to make you faster. At the end of the day, you are what you eat. And I believe food is medicine. And I just think making it fun and also talking to them in kind of a age appropriate, relatable way of like why we eat something is also very important. And they're never too young to start those conversations. Charlie's only 2, but he will ask, you know, what's the ingredients? What's this recipe? And so I think, you know, 2 years old, he's already asking these questions because he hears me talking about it, and he gets involved. So another fun thing that we do to like make it fun, my kids they do this with each other now because there's a whole litter of children at our breakfast table. But they will, you know, have their plates with blueberries or something on them, and they'll line them all up, and they'll be like, this is Dad, this is Mom, this is Isla, Declan, Charlie. They like name the blueberries as someone in the family, and then they eat said family member, and they're like, Dad is sour, Mom is sweet, Declan is sour. And so like, it's the silliest thing, but then they eat their blueberries, and you know, a goldfish cracker is always going to taste the same, but a blueberry is always going to taste different. Sometimes you get a sweet one, sometimes you get a sour one. So making it a game is something that helps. You know, what's crunchier, your snap pea or a cucumber? They're always like flexing their muscles, and they're like, I'm going to take a bite of eggs. Tell me if my muscles got bigger. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so much bigger now. So, you know, just like, you gotta make it silly when they're this young. And I don't care that they're like playing with their food. They're eating, and they're eating well.
That's great. That's really great. And I think that's makes it very different from making it fun or, you know, forcing them to eat it. I love it. So would you give adults, health conscious adults, or adults that want to be more health conscious, what tips would you give them?
Okay, let's see. First and foremost, it's very important to learn how to read and understand ingredients. I mean, additionally, the things that you should be eating shouldn't have a list of ingredients to begin with. Eggs are eggs, chicken is chicken, an apple is an apple. Like, it doesn't have a list. But if you're just starting out, don't be afraid to start small. If you're a family that usually has soda or juice at your house, just stop buying it. The next time you go to the grocery store, choose water. You know, if you have a popcorn in a movie every Friday, instead of buying microwave popcorn, there's a brand called Lesser Evil. They make a great popcorn. It's like a huge bag that you can buy at Costco for $4.99. So making those little swaps is very helpful, and that's something that I help with my consulting is like, I'll overhaul your pantry to the best of my ability. Whatever you are willing to part with, I will help you, like swap out your Heinz ketchup for an unsweetened version. I mean, you don't have to completely give up snacks, or you don't have to make every little thing homemade, but you just choose a less processed version less often, and that will help set you up for success. 2, shopping the perimeter of the grocery store is also huge. Nothing in the inner aisles is going to be good for you. That's where the chips and the cookies and the highly processed things that have a shelf life.
Sodas.
Yeah, like just if you can avoid the middle aisles, you will do yourself a favor. And then in general, just eating more meals at home instead of going out to eat. When you control the ingredients, you can take control of your health. And if you have a few recipes in your back pocket that are easy enough to skip the takeout or skip the drive-through and that are also nutrient dense, it's really important. So I'm always adding veggies and protein to everything. Like, I'm notorious for it. So if my kids ask me for pasta for lunch or dinner, I'm going to make the noodles and I'll have the marinara sauce, but I'm also chopping up onions and garlic and peppers, grating zucchini, mushrooms. Like, those are the things that, you know, that they just expect it to be in there now. Like, maybe if your kid is used to pasta with butter or plain pasta, you're going to have to start a little bit smaller. You're not just going to be like, here is this plate of veggies with your pasta noodles. But that's when you just ask them, hey, do you want to try riced cauliflower or some broccoli in your mac and cheese? And let them pick. Like, if they get to choose which one, you know, it's really easy to add riced cauliflower because it basically tastes like nothing. It tastes like literally nothing. You just cover it in cheese, cover it in sauce, and, you know, they may be none the wiser. But yeah, I think, one, it also stretches the amount of food when you add meat and veggies to something that would, you know, normally be a plain meal, but it's going to keep them full for longer. So if you're not giving them protein, they're going to be asking you for a snack in like 45 minutes. So,
well, those are great tips. Very approachable, very practical. Great for the listeners to encourage them to try. Okay, so when you're working with your client, have you found anything? What's the hardest thing about them making healthy choices or swaps when you're working with them?
I mean, I think when people are reaching out to me, they wholeheartedly want to make this change. And I think that is the first kind of step, if you will. Like, you have to want to make the changes. I can't force anybody to get rid of the Oreos and the Pringles in their pantry. You have to say, we need to do this for our family. We need to do this for our health, and get your kids on board too. Like, just have that conversation with them. Just say, hey, you know, we'll still have chips when we go to a party. We can still get a better version of the chips that we like. But we're going to focus on our health, and we want to feel good, and just, we want to feel our best at the end of the day. You know, the things that come easy for me now, I've been making this conscious effort to have these improvements for years at this point. So for me, it's just second nature. For somebody just starting out, I think you have to take these baby steps.
Yes.
Because over time, I mean, I switched everything from, you know, the food we eat to the laundry detergent, the cleaning products, our medicine cabinet, toothpaste. Like, but it didn't all happen overnight. I think that would be really difficult and also expensive to do that in a day.
Certainly. So it took stages.
Yeah. But also, our health is not just what we eat. It's how we manage our stress, our sleep quality, our level of activity. Sometimes you just need some good old-fashioned sunshine and fresh air. So, you know, you have to do the best with what you have available and not focus on perfection, or you will just go crazy. You know, obviously life happens. Kids wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes the way you want your day to go is not the way it's going. You have to throw a frozen emergency pizza in the oven and call it dinner. Like, I don't live perfectly, this like epitome of health. Like, I'm a real person too. But the things that I can control in my own home, I do. When we go out to dinner, which isn't very often, because I don't know if you've ever seen anybody go with 4 kids under 5 years old to dinner. It's not really relaxing. So, but I kind of like lost my train of thought there, but we're not going to say, oh, what's on the menu that's going to be the healthiest thing. If I'm going to go out to a restaurant, I'm going to order a burger and I'm not going to care that it's cooked in some sort of oil and that my food is deep fried. Like, I'm just going to eat it, and I'm probably not going to feel that good because I've been eating really well. And then you have your cheat meal and you're like, well, that, it doesn't sit well with you when you do eat home cooked meals primarily.
That's true.
But I think if people are willing to make these small changes over time, it adds up to a lot, and it's a huge thing.
Finding the balance between convenience and health is definitely a challenge for a lot of families. So I appreciate and I applaud you for working in this space and working with children in particular. I guess on the flip side, what has been the most positive and rewarding thing about your experience in the health industry?
Oh man. Okay. Well, I guess book specific. It's always very cool, and I will never tire of hearing people tell me that their kids ask to read Taste Buddies all the time, or that they talked about their taste buds at the dinner table, or they tried something new, because at the end of the day, that's what the book is all about. And that's like, all I want people to do is eat real food, like especially our kids. Like, they rely on us as the parents to guide them. Our kids are not going to the grocery store and making their purchases. Like, we are the parents, we make the decisions.
Exactly.
It is what we put in front of them is what their options are. And then, anytime I've done a story time, the kids, they start to say the repetitive part of Taste Buddies, which just melts my heart. And I'm like, I just feel like it's the coolest thing.
It's such an adorable story. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really am. I'm super
You did
proud
a great
of it.
job on it.
Thank you. Obviously it's really cool when you read your reviews. You're an author, you know this. Like, when you see people's reviews come in on Amazon and you are like so excited. And I'm very proud of this because I only have 5-star reviews. Like, I don't want anybody to write a 4-star review. If you don't like my book that much and you want to give it 4 stars, don't even bother writing a review. I want 5 stars.
I totally understand.
But winning the Golden Wizard Award and the Reader's Favorite Award made me feel like very much more official, because again, it's nice to read like what your mom wrote about you on Amazon and your friends and family. I hope that they would like my book and say kind things. But when people that are in the business of reading and reviewing books say that Taste Buddies is well written, it just made me feel way more validated. So
it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very rewarding. And you mentioned that I moved from Chicago to Atlanta, and a lot of things happening in my life all at the same time. So like, seeing my idea of Taste Buddies cross the finish line through that very busy season of my life was also really cool for me to just say, like, I did it. Like, I am a published author, because Taste Buddies launched last January. I was 30-something weeks pregnant with my 4th baby. My husband started his new job that required us to move from Chicago to Atlanta. And so we closed on our house in Beaufort like 2 weeks after Taste Buddies launched.
Wow.
And so it was just like, I look back, I'm like, how did I do that? I have no clue.
Yes, you had a lot going on. So, wow. Job well done.
Thank you. I mean, it didn't go smoothly. My launch was a complete disaster. Books were printed upside down. Ingram and Amazon, like, didn't have my book posted for like a couple weeks at a time. But I mean, it was a disaster, but I did it. So I live to tell about it.
Well, it was definitely a juggling act for you, but everything turned out well. That just goes to show that, through every process, it may not go as we hope. It's a learning experience. It's a process. And in the end, for your next book, you know exactly what to do and what not to do, and you just go from there.
Exactly. You got to get through all the hiccups and the hurdles and just take it one day at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time.
So what made you go self-publishing route, and what has it taught you?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I guess when you start doing Google searches about like how to publish a book, there is a lot of information out there. And of course, it would be really cool to be represented by a massive publishing company, but I was not at that caliber. And so I found Self-Publishing School, which is how you and I know each other. We would be on
Correct.
our coaching calls together. And so having that sort of guidance really helped me out, because I feel like I would probably still be fumbling and be like, okay, what do I do now that my book is illustrated? Do I need to, like, all of the facets that go into publishing a book? Like, I don't think I realized how many hands touch this book. Like, it's not just author, illustrator, publisher. Like, it's a lot of steps that you would never think of. I'm like, the copywriting, and you want to get your edits and your rough drafts read. And so having that process be streamlined for me was hugely helpful. So I would definitely recommend, if somebody feels like they want to write a book and they don't know where to start, the self-publishing school program that we went through was tremendously helpful. So,
well, it definitely taught me patience, resilience, and it was important to have a community of everyone that have been through the process, and all the new ones that is going through the process, whether, friends and families and fellow authors, they were all encouraging. So the process was really fun for me.
I agree.
Even to the point where I'm now helping other authors do the same thing. So, and that's what's important, that we learn and then we teach.
Exactly. I don't need to gatekeep. If somebody wanted to write a book, I would be like, I will help you, and here's what you need to do next.
Well, I'm sure a lot of listeners who are aspiring authors will find your journey incredibly encouraging. For you, what has been the most rewarding? You mentioned your awards, your reviews. What's the most rewarding part so far?
Let's see. I mean, again, just like getting to say that I did it with a lot of obstacles, and I definitely do not have the luxury of time. I'm at home with my 4 kids. None of them are in school. None of them are in daycare. We're a busy family. My husband travels for work, so a lot of times I'm just trying to survive. So the fact that I wrote a book and I published it is like, even if I didn't sell any copies, I would be still so proud of myself because it was a lot to get there. It definitely took longer than I kind of thought. Like, again, the illustrations take time, and certain parts of it, just, there's no workaround. Like, it's just, that's how long it takes. But yeah, just saying that I did it is like the best thing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it, Jax.
Thank you. And you should be proud of yourself too.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And you're really showing aspiring authors exactly how it's possible to turn your passion into your purpose and create something really meaningful, because this is a beautiful project. And I can't wait to see the next book in the series.
Thank you.
Have you thought about what color you'll do next, or what it's going to be about?
Yeah, so I mean, from the beginning, Taste Buddies set out to be a series. Book 1, of course, is about trying green. I'm simultaneously working on orange and yellow in my free time. Haha. I'm sure that there will be a red book and probably blue and purple combination. I don't know if I can come up with enough blue and or purple foods to have them be their own book. I think it'd be really cool for the Taste Buddies to do kind of like a culinary tour of the world, and they can try these different ethnic foods. Maybe I'll write a Taste Buddies cookbook someday. I think I have more ideas than I do time at the moment, so I'm trying to just focus on one thing at a time. And obviously, there's also a lot of overhead costs that come with self-publishing and paying for an illustrator and things like that. So I'm trying to be net positive with book 1. That's obviously a goal, and then get book number 2 out in this calendar year. So that is definitely a 2025 goal. And then besides publishing more books, I've been kind of selectively looking at various, brand partnerships that Taste Buddies can collaborate with. So companies or businesses that are wellness-based and have kids' health in mind. So the sky is the limit for Taste Buddies.
Oh, yes. All great ideas, and much success to you. I can't wait to see what you have coming in the pipeline.
Yes.
Before we wrap up, Jax, looking ahead, Where do you see Taste Buddies in 5 years? I know you mentioned all of those different things that you want to happen and what you're working towards, your goals. In 5 years,
Okay,
where would
let's
you
see.
be?
Let's hope that I can have 5 more colors in 5 years. So one book per year. I have this idea that like Taste Buddies approves kids snacks. So whether that's like a kid's
Ooh,
smoothie or a snack bar or a cereal that is like real food ingredients, like I want Taste Buddies to be like the approved seal stamp on some sort of product that kids can relate to those characters, because we have the Trix Rabbit and the Fruit Loops bird and all of these characters that are on food that is not Jax approved, not Taste Buddies approved. So I'm always looking for brands that are wellness, health focused. So if anybody is out there listening and you have a brand or you have an idea and you feel like you need a character to help promote your product, please reach out, because Taste Buddies is looking for partnerships.
that sounds amazing. Definitely.
Wouldn't that be so cool? Like to see
I
Taste Buddies
love
on a
it.
cereal box. We're like the brand that we love at our house is called Eat Lovebird. That's their like Instagram, and so there's like 6 ingredients, and it like looks like a Cheerio, but it's not a Cheerio. It's made with like cassava root and honey, and I mean it's the best cereal. So if people are
Healthy
looking
stuff.
for
Yes.
they're looking for a swap, try Eat Lovebird.
Eat Lovebird. Oh, that's very new for me. Okay, I'll check it out.
They're good.
That's amazing. All the things that you have coming down the pipeline. It's so exciting to think how your series can make an even bigger impact with all those beautiful ideas. You're creating something so meaningful for families. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Jax, thank you so very much for joining me today. Your story is so inspiring, and I'm sure Taste Buddies is going to continue helping families everywhere. Where can our listeners find your book and connect with you?
Yeah, so Taste Buddies is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com. Interestingly enough, you can buy it at the Harvard bookstore. Very odd place to pick up Taste Buddies, but Ivy League taste buds. I'm trying to think where else. I mean, basically wherever books are sold. You can connect with me on Instagram. My personal handle is windycity.jax. And you can also follow tastebuddies.bookclub on Instagram for more book-specific things. My website is jaxperrins.com. So if you are looking to book like any sort of consultation, if you want me to overhaul your pantry without any judgment, I do not care what you have in there. I care that you want to make changes. Yeah, I do virtual pantry and kitchen overhauls. I will go to the grocery store with you in real life, and we will navigate the aisles. We will read ingredients together. We will find better swaps for your favorite snacks. And yeah, come and find me.
Perfect. That's great. Can you spell out your website?
Yeah, absolutely. Jax is Jax and Perrins, Perrins.com.
Perfect. Thanks again, Jax, for being on the show. And to our listeners, make sure to grab a copy of Taste Buddies and start your family's healthy eating journey today. Until next time, take care and stay inspired.